Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. As you guys are following that I was talking about in the last chapter series of my vlogging sort of thing, based on my journey with AS, that I was talking about mainly about shape-shifting, how it works in female Aspies, why we do it, and basically also in the last bit of it also was basically how I go about it and why I go about it and stuff, to just gain a better understanding and knowledge how shape-shifting really works in a female Aspie, so to speak, because at the end of the day, many people do tend to question us and do look confuzzled to how we act and behave towards others and stuff, but as I said, this is to gain better understanding and knowledge and know-how. And all further ado, the next chapter of my blogging, as well as the book, is called Validation, which I'm hoping to call Approval or Confirmation Needed, pretty much. So here it goes. What is validation? Validation is pretty much defined as authentic, verifying approval, pretty much seeking one's approval to confirm what is required at that given moment of time to continue a given task or set of instructions that has been given to us of some sort of kind, so to speak. Also, another way about it, though, as we know, validation has many different parts of definitions, but that's how I look at it anywho, of what I've just mentioned. How validation works, however, pretty much works in a way of, for us Aspies, as well as maybe people in general, as we all know, pretty much will have experienced something similar of a particular situation, be it like something like we've lost a job and we don't know how to go about maybe our very way of our business to actually approach someone to talk about it. Some of us Aspies, however, when we do feel as if we're validating our feelings, we feel that 9 times out of 10 that we feel that we are just intruding on them, or that we feel that we maybe just at the time maybe to the point of that we don't need to put our burdens on them, so to speak, as most of us do tend to, you know, carry through and actually just go on with it. But as I've learned pretty much, though, depending on the situation we're facing at that given moment of time, this can be depending on some form of intensity of that given situation, whatever it may be, pretty much, as well as basically some people think it's out of the ordinary, you know, somehow that it's normal basically just to do this. But as we know that most females, especially Aspies and all other people like NTs, we do tend to validate our feelings and share our feelings to the guys, even though some guys may not want to go about it, even if we were, say, in a relationship, and we just feel too obliged to share our feelings, and then sometimes they just tend to close us out. However, sometimes, however, though, I feel that with this validation, however, there has been a lack of understanding or knowledge, but we shouldn't have to feel too embarrassed, nervous, sorry for ourselves to when we do this, when we do validate our feelings and show it towards others, how we go about it. You know, it's okay to feel this way. It is normal. It is basically a point for us Aspies, and we need to try and find out ways to explain ourselves sometimes to the behaviours that we are showing, as well as the attitudes, however, we're showing. Okay, here's an example just for you guys to share what I'm talking about validation, however. Okay, say say you're basically, how to word it, going to somewhere new, in a different place that you've never known or been at, be it like a pub, be it like a social party and whatnot, and that's not what we're used to, however, since it's something new and it tends to maybe overwhelm us. Yet we are keen and confident enough to just, you know, build up our esteem enough to go to these outings of parties, discos, what the like. And sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone just to feel ourselves, to see if we can be ourselves. Like I said in the last video, shape-shifting, we need to put our feelings aside and maybe be someone who we're not, so to speak, but fake it till you make it, so to speak, which sometimes to me is not always the case, which, however, shouldn't have to be this way. Anyway, the person that we may meet, however, be it a guy or girl, you know, we meet in our age group, or comes across to us as a great person that we know is someone, right? And that, you know, we feel that she's got it together, she's got it together, be it, you know, they've got a good job, they've got a car, they're going places, sort of thing. And Then somehow, however, sometimes though, we don't really see the real bigger picture. Sometimes though, they might be putting a smile on their face and just, hiding their actual feelings. And sometimes, like I said, with me, however, I may look like I've got it together sometimes, but I feel that I need to share my, feelings and stuff, even though I need confirmation or affirmation that everything will be alright, or just some sort of support, as I said in many times in my videos. Sometimes I find that when I confide in you guys, sometimes it does feel scary at first because, as I said to myself, I'm trying to have that courage to talk to people regardless what it may be. Many people may think that, okay, Kerrin, what the hell, and then they get so angry at me, and then this is when this misunderstanding and all that comes in, and all these other feelings and emotions rush in. Sometimes, however, we got to realise that some of the perception and thoughts do cloud our judgment and thinking patterns, regardless what it may be. Pretty much how I feel. Sometimes also, though, I'm trying to get rid of, when I'm validating my feelings, the what ifs, basically, and whatnot, what's going to happen to me tomorrow. You never know, it goes the same way for others around me. Sometimes I might just, block out what other people might be thinking and saying at the same time, but then again, everyone's different how we go about it, When certain situation arises, it's up to us how we react and what we say and do. I believe that in a nutshell, because everything we say and do obviously come to a price, and also, like I said, a repercussion or a certain situation that might come and bite us in the ass again, and basically, tell us a little hidden message, even though some people it will take longer to learn from the mistakes, even though it doesn't mean, as I said so many times before, people just to point out the mistakes and stuff. At that moment at a time, however, with that situation that may have arose, be it, like I said, losing a job or just being divorced or whatever, we may have everything we need, pretty much, and that we need to ask ourselves, or sometimes we may tend to assume everything that's happening is happening for a reason, or that we weren't good enough. We start to question all these other doubts and feelings and stuff of what was going on to that time frame, however, Sometimes, however, from that particular someone's view or idea, we do tend to make it cycle around our heads. I will admit, I do it most of the time with all these self-conscious thinking of the self-doubt and negativity, because obviously, as I said, I'm trying to get out of my skin and shell, basically, to take the courage to take the step up to actually get to know people and actually hopefully give them my trust and ability to actually let them into my life cycle, whatever it may be, pretty much. Sometimes, however, there will be more disagreements, pretty much, but then again, I feel that we should be obviously at least compromising sort of thing with others that are involved. When I try to fix on a problem or not fixate on it so many times before, basically on what's going on, and that 9 times out of 10 that I just trying to learn, as I said in my last video, shape-shifting, basically I should at least take a step back if certain things doesn't come my way and let it go, pretty much, even though that some people are just so stubborn sometimes. I'm one of them, and sometimes I'm the kind of girl that wants things to set in concrete in my own very way. Sometimes, however, as I said, some people may tend to think and act before they think of the repercussions and consequences that may follow, sort of thing. Be it whatever they say, it can leave a scar for life, emotional scar, even though, as I said, I think in my last video, or maybe in one of my videos, that many people think it's okay to say them. It's up to us how we take it on board. I know that for that it's true to a point, but then again, as the saying goes, I've heard so many times before, that angers me is, what they won't know won't hurt them. It will, because if it was for hearsay, as I'm hoping to bring up more of, based on relationships, if they said that would question the other person, like the girl, about their ability and actually their self-worth and value, and that, and thinking that they may have given up their wrong time, however. How I look at it, though, however, is despite the setbacks and challenges that we may face, however, we need to understand that some things that goes on my way, be it whatever it may be, I am trying my very hardest to succeed in life, even though I'm learning now that even though my journey is not a race against the clock with everybody else, even though many others may have succeeded in their life, be it, you know, getting a car, be it getting married, be it they've, you know, done their dash of overseas, be it that they've got a flash job and a, you know, flash car or whatever it may be. But then why should we compete with others when we know that every journey is different, so to speak? Sometimes I'm learning now that I need to take it slower, despite that, yes, okay, I have been through certain hurdles and hoops right now of certain things that I've been through, and it does take a while for certain things to settle down again, even though 9 times out of 10 certain situations do arise again, and it makes me so overwhelmed to the point of, what am I doing here, you know, and all these other questions. But I'm learning now that we all are on a journey. We are making our own stories and legacy in our life, no matter what it may be. Instead of using my point of view, however, I'm trying to put my point of view aside when I'm actually with that person who's validating their feelings, or vice versa, if I'm validating my own, pretty much, to respond to a particular feelings and thoughts and nature that won't cause any disagreements or arguments between the person. Why this is important? Well, the very question is, why do many of us assume that everything is okay with certain people around us, that even though, as I said in one of my videos over, about how the quota of you guys seems to be quite, I'll leave you alone tactic. It's not always right, because I feel in my day and age it shouldn't have to be, so to speak. Sometimes we do feel stressed and ignored, pretty much the point of basically that we're not being paid full attention to whatever it may be. Or another one is we may feel overwhelmed in ourselves, and that sometimes we're not focusing on the full conversation, we're just picking little bits and pieces at a time, so to speak, of what we're doing and whatnot, so to speak, and then again it will just backlash on us. Sometimes some people may think we don't have the right to feel the way we do, regardless of validating the feelings and whatever it may be. But in all honesty, we do need to. Because as females, especially, despite the Aspies word of it, what I'm going to say here, we need to, as I said, express our feelings and emotion towards others, especially to guys. Because like many guys in my circle, I've noticed, tend to think that it's okay for us just to be Miss Tough Girl with no feelings and emotions, you know, as they say, you know, harden the fuck up, some of them has been telling me, or another one is, you know, you can't handle the gentle Karen, so, you know, I'll do it on my own, or whatever the case may be, you know, it pisses me off, so to speak, to the point of no return that, you know, it's like, well, why are you saying this? You say one thing, do another. Like I said in one of my videos over, that you keep giving me confused messages of certain things, what you're trying to tell me, you know. Sometimes, however, like I feel that someone sometimes may feel it's not real acknowledging or being understood all the time. You know, I do feel this way sometimes because I can't always, like, turn my feelings off sometimes of how I may be feeling, regardless if I'm feeling tired, depressed, or happy, or whatever. You know, yes, again, it's by choice how I want to go about my day, feeling, you know, happy, sad, glad, you know, or just the opposite, just by, you know, thinking that, you know, I'm down and out, thinking the world is against me, pretty much. Sometimes, however, I'm trying to learn now to be more comfortable in my own skin, regardless what it may be, you know, so, you know, it's important, though, to me, we need to acknowledge each other and actually acknowledge that there is basically a problem of some kind, and then with that problem, hopefully, that we can work out some sort of solution, because as I said before, many times before, I'm the kind of girl that wants to fix it and also solve the problem, even though I understand, to me anyway, in my experience, that there could be more than just one, you know, answer to that problem solution. We need to just basically get out there and think. If we clear up all this assumption and misjudgment of others, of how they're feeling and that, then hopefully to the point we will understand others around us, basically how people work. You know, we shouldn't have to think or pretend to act around others that everything's okay when we feel that it's not. We should be able to express ourselves in a way that, and not basically be in a box full of different labels and stuff and being left behind the shelf untouched, you know, and forgotten of. So yeah, but then again, it's based on, you know, give and take about us communicating and listening to one another, and hopefully one day that we'll, you know, understand to the point of no return, you know, and get on with each other. Even though, yes, as they say, opinions can be different to one another, and these opinions can affect one another in a way of no return. Well, this ends my video of basically validation, and my next video is about emotional delay and responses in Aspies, which will cover what it means basically, and maybe a few examples, how it works with me, how it may affect me and in my everyday situations on what I may face and whatnot, and maybe a few advice here and there to you all. But then again, I might see if I can maybe find a few advice here and there on this one of what I've just shared of validation. If you would like to know more about my journey of AS and all these other series that I'm doing on my other channel as well of the Beauty from Ashes, comment, like, and below. And also, you guys have a good day. Be true, be real, and love yourselves.